albums still matter. Like books and Black lives, albums still matter. Tonight and
always. Once upon a time, these two had radio shows until they were laid off at no fault of their own. Sure, that's what they all say. It's the Link Up Listening Party with Augie and Jordan.
Oh boy, welcome to the Link Up Listening Party. It's the podcast where we compare two albums by the themes and threads they share. I am Jordan, that's Augie. Today we are getting nostalgic on many levels. Happy 25th anniversary of Pokemon,
yes.
Augie.
Happy 25th anniversary to Pokemon to you as well, sir. I was excited for you when Post Malone dropped the I Only Want to Be With You cover. I immediately thought of you for some reason. And I'm just glad that he took us back to Hootie and the Blowfish because I feel like we needed that.
That was a great cover. First off, in the intro, they integrate a Pokemon song, like the that's a Pokemon song that they sampled into Only Want to Be With You. And I can't believe it was actually good. Like, it's a great cover. So I really dig it. Thank you, Post Malone, for just living his best life.
I would just want to, I just want to challenge you a little bit. You said you were surprised. Post Malone is the god of covering songs right now. If anybody's great at covering songs, it's Post Malone.
You're right. But when you see that, because sometimes it's like, okay, I guess my question is, at one point does it fail? Because he always does covers to a high degree with Nirvana and all that, and they're always excellent. And he's a very talented musician, and he just loves music. He's our guy. We gotta get him on the pod.
Yes,
he just loves all genres of music.
I shot my shot with
him. When I saw
him.
Hootie and the Blowfish, I'm like, hey, could he do this? Oh, did you DM him?
I DM'd him. We'll see. I haven't got a response yet, so I'm also not holding my breath. You got to reach out to Dre, and I got to reach out to Dre, his manager.
Augie, speaking of Pokemon, do you have any Pokemon memories that you want to share? Well, what was your relationship with Pokemon? I know that I'm the big Poke guy in here, but I think everyone has a memory with these fictional animals.
So my little brothers got me into Pokemon. I was like older. I thought I was too old at the time. I wasn't too old. Well, let's just put it that way. I wasn't too old at all. But I was playing Pokemon Red, Yellow, and Blue on the Game Boy Color, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was like, wow, I'm really into this. And I was Squirtle all day, every day. Team Squirtle. It's all about that man right there. That's my hero.
That's your guy. Speaking of Pokemon, I'll still be doing this by the time the podcast drops on Tuesday. I'm ranking the original 151. I thought I could do it all in 1 week. No, that's a big task. But on my new Twitter, my not banned Twitter, my new Twitter at Rogue Jally, you can check out my rankings of the original 151.
So, okay, I got a couple of questions based on that. Number one, where are you right now? Because I saw you like a day or two ago. What number are you on as we record?
I'm at 100.
Who's your 100th?
Hold on, let me pull it up. I think it was Vulpix. No, number 100 was Magikarp. 100 Magikarp. Dude. Hilariously helpless. Just wait until level 20.
Yeah, Magikarp pretty high, man. That's a pretty bold ranking for Magikarp.
Because once you got Magikarp, the game opened up. You're like, oh, I'm about to get Gyarados real quick. Like, it was it was almost time. Like, you're about to dominate. As soon as you hit level 20, it's fine. So the evolutionary path really benefits Magikarp.
I have to shout out all the kids that, like the original adopters of Pokemon, that didn't know it was going to turn into Gyarados, and then all of a sudden, like, they got this overpowered Pokemon, and they didn't know why. You know what I mean? So shout out to those kids. I don't know how many of them there are, but I'm sure that some kids got pleasantly surprised by believing in the Magikarp.
I don't even remember what that story was like for me. I think I probably already knew about it because I remember I'd bring my Game Boy I did a before and after school program because I mostly lived at my mom's house, single mom, climbing the corporate ladder. I had to get to school early on our way to work, and then she'd come get me around 5 or 6. So I did like the Y program is what it was called. And I'd bring my Game Boy and I would just play with my friend Dominic all day. And I don't remember the stories and the lore and how I got this info. I can't remember a time before Pokemon, frankly. Because it's 25. I'm 28. I don't remember a life pre-Pokemon.
Jordan,
it's wild.
That's an interesting life you're leading right now, man. It's like literally you are a child of Pokemon. You are Ash Ketchum, and I'm here for it, man.
Man, I hope I'm not Ash. He won one championship in 25 years. This bro is garbage. Trash.
Yo,
25 seasons of TV to get one championship. Are you kidding me?
The Ash slander ends here, man. No more Ash slander. Ash is the hero. Ash is the common man hero, dude.
No, he's not. He's got no sauce. Evolve your Pikachu. Raichu's badass. Raichu is Pikachu going through a Bowie phase. And you got to give him the light, give him the Thunderstone, let him evolve. Damn it. Come on, Ash.
If you want a real good electric Pokemon, you got to get Zapdos. Like, just quit the BS and get a Zapdos.
Well, he can. It's a legendary. He doesn't have the sauce to get Zapdos.
Damn, man.
This Ash Ketchum tried to attack Mewtwo with his fists. What an idiot. This guy is dumb.
Oh man, dude,
Ash Ketchum's an idiot. I'm sorry.
I'm hurt for our hero Ash Ketchum, man. Gosh, are you like Brock? Is Brock your guy? Are you a rock Pokemon aficionado?
I think I'm a Misty guy. I've always loved water Pokemon. Also, Misty has Starmie and Staryu. Those Pokemon, Augie, are water Pokemon that can like mess with your mind, and they fly through space according to the Pokedex entries. Like it's a metal star that flies through space and messes with your mind and hits you with a water gun. That's dope. Shout out to Misty.
When we start praising Staryu, we've gone a little too deep into the Pokemon lore. Let's get into the meat, man. The meat and potatoes of the podcast. Yes. This is the Link Up Listening Party. I'm excited about this episode. We're comparing two great albums. I feel like this combination is the best combination for me. I feel like I had the best time listening to these two particular albums. And we're going to have a fantastic guest on. Good old friend of mine, one of the best DJs in the country. You've heard him on a million radio stations around the country. You've seen him at a million shows. You may have seen him at Jazzy Jeff's house. DJ Chris Villa.
Wow. Chris Villa in the cut. Let's go. I'm really excited to get his thoughts. I love getting a DJ of his caliber's thoughts and picking their brain, especially with music like this. It's really smart and cutting edge and of hipster and internet culture. These songs are hard to weave in to sets. So I want to see what he thinks about all this. But Augie, I think our Pokemon conversation was rather fitting for the topic of nostalgia, since it's Nostalgia Ultra and Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. Rest in peace, Daft Punk, by the way.
You're a man.
Lots of stuff to talk about on this podcast.
You are definitely a thoughtful man. You prepared. You were ready. You knew. You prepared this, didn't you? You were like, I'm going to jump in and talk about Pokemon because it's relevant.
I did think that the memories and the nostalgia and the Pokemon threads were all tying together quite nicely. We're in a very fortuitous situation.
Did I call you the Miles Davis of podcasting and radio hosting? Did I call you that last episode?
You did. And I really appreciate it. It really meant a lot, frankly, to my ego. You know that I thrive on that.
It still stands.
How do we even begin to talk about these albums? You know, we get Frank Ocean, one of the most storied songwriters and R&B pop minds of the modern era. Then Daft Punk, a group that's well respected, a dance group that's well respected by all types of music lovers. It seems like we have bit off a lot more than we can chew, Augie. I know it's very exciting and promising, but also it's like, oh, this is quite the journalistic feat. Where do we go? Where do we start? How do we begin this conversation?
I got you, man. So the tie here initially with the titles was, without even thinking about it, it was nostalgia and memories, right? And nostalgia is a big theme on these albums, but deeper than that is that both of these albums are a love letter to music. And they don't want to let genre box each other in. And they're honoring things that came before them and also looking towards the future and honoring the future.
That's a great way to describe Frank Ocean, especially since, you know, there's Coldplay and the Don Henley Eagles debacle going on with Nostalgia Ultra and American Wedding. That's a great articulation, Augie. I love it. Jump in. Give us a synopsis of Nostalgia Ultra. What do we need to know about this album? Give us the history. Okay. Give us the juicy, hot goss.
So this is a mixtape. This wasn't an album, and it was supposed to be an album that was actually going to be dropped later by Def Jam, and it wasn't for whatever reason. But it was released February 16, 2011, just a few days more than 10 years ago on Frank Ocean's Tumblr account, which if there's any reason to keep a Tumblr in 2021, it's for Frank Ocean, because he does all of his communicating and everything with his fan base from his Tumblr. And I don't know if you have your notifications on, Jordan, but you got to keep them on for that.
I don't think I haven't checked Tumblr since probably this album dropped, frankly. No pun intended with the frankly. Hey!
Wow. Okay. And then nobody knew who Frank Ocean was, really. He was a songwriter at the time. But the reason why it became like a thing to go listen to immediately was because Tyler, the Creator, friend of Frank Ocean, and Capo, we'll call him the Capo of Odd Future. He told them on his Twitter account, go listen to this album. And he linked Tumblr and people rushed to listen to it. And they were not let down, sir. I want to talk about Don Henley of the Eagles, this whole debacle. In case people don't know, Don Henley is a Karen. He's one of the original Karens. Now, this guy, of course, the lead of the band The Eagles, which Frank Ocean borrowed the instrumental and some of the melodies and a lot of that stuff, the song Hotel California. But Frank did a masterful, and we can dive into this a little bit later, but he did a masterful job writing that song, American Wedding. And Don Henley heard the song, didn't like it, threatened to sue Frank Ocean, told them that he's not allowed to perform that song at any of his concerts ever. And then to take it a level deeper, in 2015, 4 years after this, he called Frank Ocean a talentless hack.
Yeah, that's where I draw a line with Don. You can get mad about sampling, or you can get mad about someone remixing your song. I think that's a very old generation thing to get mad about. I think that's, if anything, it's an homage to how impactful that song is. This new R&B pop guys like doing a version of your song, that's an honor. And there's something to be said about just taking it and releasing it, but also it was free. And yes, he got notoriety and fame off of it. So I understand that argument from Don's side on a conceptual level. On a optics level, this man is tripping. He just looks like an old guy yelling at the sky. He's the old guy yelling at the sky. He's really the Simpsons meme. And it's really, yeah, it's, I don't like, this goes back to what we talked about a couple episodes ago with like punching up or punching down. I don't like when legends punch down. It reeks of elitism. It reeks of being out of touch and not understanding the current wave of music. People went and listened to Hotel California as a result of that song. It reintroduced Hotel California to a new generation. So it operates on both sides. And could Frank have cut the check or asked for permission? Sure. But again, it's a 24-year-old putting out a free mixtape on Tumblr. Like, who thought that it was going to blow up like that?
He didn't make $1 from that song ever in his life. But I want to give a metaphor to this just to add to what you're saying. Imagine if you, being a Lego master, you build this wonderful city, right? And it's beautiful and it's intricate and it's amazing. And you leave it out in public. Somebody comes along and decides to add all these beautiful buildings to your city. Are you going to get upset with this guy as an artist?
I don't know if that's a perfect metaphor, Augie. This goes back to a thing I did an IG live about yesterday about who owns art. Who gets to say in what gets created? Is it the artist? Is it the creator? Is it the audience? Who gets to pick what a song means and what should happen going forward, whether it's Marvel or Star Wars or music? So Don Henley's had this workout for 40 years, 50 years at the time.
Yeah.
He still owns that song, right? He wrote it.
He owns it.
But there's something to be said about breathing new life into it. I think this is much more convoluted than Frank Ocean good, Don Henley bad, new music making good, old music making bad. I don't think that binary is not, I don't think it's a healthy way to have this discussion. I think do you see that both sides have points?
I do. And that's why I brought that up. I brought that up because you found issue with that, you being the artist who created the city and then somebody coming along and adding beautiful buildings to that city. Yes, you were hurt. But if you were a third person, you'd be like, wow, like this is still cool and this is still brilliant. And this artist actually added something to that. Now, you as the original artist have cause to get upset and feel bad. But at the end of the day, when you take a step back, you can be like, well, you know what? My art is still there. He didn't necessarily hurt my art. he built upon my art, and I can appreciate his talent. At the same time, like, yeah, like you weren't supposed to mess with my art. You weren't supposed to do that. But once the musical vandalism was done, you can kind of understand that, yeah, you know what? He did a great job with that. And, I'm not mad at it after you sit back and you think about it. When you have 4 years to think about it, I don't think it was the right move to call him a talentless hack.
No, that's where I take the biggest issue, because Frank Ocean's obviously not talentless. And this is like the old guard not being understanding or welcoming of the new guard. I always find that to be rooted in insecurity. So sorry, Don, you got a great little legal argument, I guess. But as far as perception goes, you're a bitch.
Say it louder. You're a bitch, Don Henley. You're a bitch.
Yeah.
All right. And Don Henley wasn't the only one that had beef with Frank Ocean around this time. Chris Brown and Frank Ocean had beef. Do you remember this, Jordan?
Oh yeah, this awakens a really deep memory. I don't remember the specifics. Enlighten us.
Okay, so Chris Brown went on Twitter or whatever social media platform at the time, and he's like, "Oh, you know that Frank Ocean kid? He's talented. He's like a young James Fauntleroy." And Frank Ocean didn't really like that. I mean, James Fauntleroy, talented, also on Nostalgia Ultra. But he took it as a diss, saying like, "Oh, you're just going to compare me to these artists who are on my level, more or less," because James Fauntleroy was on his level. It's like that's really not that cool. And went ahead and had beef with him, and some of Frank Ocean's quote unquote bloods some of Chris Brown's quote unquote bloods caught Frank Ocean driving somewhere, and were yelling at him and talking stuff, and Frank kind of ignored them. But there was internet beef.
James Fauntleroy is very talented and mad underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I think Frank's reaction is incredibly insecure. And who cares what Chris Brown has to say about anything? That's where I'm like, wait, Chris Brown said something? Okay. Sick. Delete.
He had way more impact at the time. Oh, and I'm just remembering now. I'm sorry, I didn't write this part of it down. Mm-hmm. Frank Ocean's actual response to Chris Brown's tweet was that, "Oh, great, Chris Brown, you're like a young Ike Turner," and that's when Chris Brown went crazy. So, I mean, he had a point. He had a point.
I love the funny beef. Funny beef is great.
It's good. They don't have beef anymore. Moving on. It's spicy critic time, of course. With a mixtape, a young album, there's going to be people that have issues with this, especially by a guy who's pretty much unknown. Mm-hmm. But I really had to dig to find this. I really searched to find this one. And I actually had to go on the Wayback Machine because I think they deleted this.
Wow. Cowards. Yeah. Cowards.
Yeah. Cowards. All right. So Charlie Jeb. Hey, Charlie Jeb. This was you talking in 2011 of No Ripcord. Charlie says, "The electronic bump of There Will Be Tears is a misstep. A story about Ocean dealing with the loss of a father figure who would make for a compelling ass song if it were focused more on the words than fucking around behind the board. American Wedding is another lazy track that finds Ocean rewriting the words to Hotel California by the Eagles. It's an interesting idea, but one that comes closer to bad karaoke than the statement it's trying to be."
That's just, again, this goes, a lot of these bad reviews are critics searching for hot takes. I understand the bad karaoke thing of just rewriting a song and rewriting lyrics. I don't think that argument's made in good faith. Break that up into 3 or 4 sentences and give me why. I don't know how the editor of No Ripcord is going to let that fly.
Yeah, it's probably why it's deleted. But you know what? I have to give Charlie Jeb his credit here, because if I get a tweet from Charlie Jeb or something, he did. Otherwise, the other sentences in that review were positive, and he did give it praise. But those are the ones where he was really critiquing. But critiquing a song like American Wedding, which some people consider Frank Ocean's best song.
Pink and White exists, but go off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's my favorite Frank Ocean song, but there are people out there that are American Wedding truthers out here, and I don't blame you. It's a great one. It's a great cool critique.
I would love to see more modern artists of all genre persuasions cover or try and parody. And I don't know if parody is the right word, but rewrite some classic rock songs. This should be an album. I would love to listen to it. That'd be great.
Mhm.
You should give these rock legends their flowers and redo their work and expose your audience to some legends. And
Yes.
if Don Henley doesn't want to receive that streaming check, then he can take his bag of money and go home.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here, Don Henley.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
mad at him. All right, Jordan. Give us the synopsis of Daft Punk's Random Access Memories, which is actually a sad listen now, knowing that about the news that came out this past week about Daft Punk.
I don't think it's that sad. I mean, we got 3 decades of Daft Punk. Like, they got to call it quits at some point. Like, yeah, it's a bummer that they're done, but we can't act like they didn't leave it all on the field for us. So it's a natural ending. Thank you, Daft Punk.
I feel like there was more for them to give, and I'll expound upon that later. Give us the synopsis, though.
Okay, here's the synopsis. Augie, does the day April 17th, 2013 ring a bell to you?
No.
That is the day a snippet of Get Lucky leaked. I remember this day very vividly. I was a sophomore in college. My friend Isaac and I, my roommate, were so stoked by this snippet. We shared music together. It's one of our most coagulating bonds. We're like, yo, this song's about to be crazy. It's Pharrell and Daft Punk. Oh my goodness. It's a sound so vintage. It almost sounds futuristic. The song came out 2 days later, and I remember listening to this as I snuck out to celebrate 420 in the woods of my notoriously roof-falling Christian University in suburban Minnesota. As I listened to Get Lucky again for this project, it felt like I was back in my dorm, ready to engage in whatever Project X shenanigan was on deck for the weekend.
Nice. Nice reference. I like that.
Thank you. That's what music can do. It evokes a moment in time that can be so vivid it transports you to a place where memories and reality are indistinguishable. That's the goal of Random Access Memory, the fourth and final album by French electronic robots Daft Punk, released on May 17th, 2013. The album acts as a tribute to the music of the 70s and 80s and integrates ideas from disco, soft rock, and prog pop, progressive pop. I did not know that was a genre, but it is, and they did it.
There was a lot of prog pop in the 80s and early 90s, and I feel like the 70s too, but I'm not old enough to know.
I'm going to dive into that genre at some point because I'm all like, hey, give me some shrooms, give me some pop. I've never done shrooms, but I imagine listening to a song in its entirety like that is what it feels like.
Imagine prog pop being like progressive rock, but extremely soft and accessible and happy.
Yes. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a notable lack of electronic instrumentation on this album, something I'll get into in 5 fun facts. In place of the electronics and samples is a vast list of collaborators, including Pharrell, Niles Rodgers, Julian Casablancas, and more. The list of awards it received is just as vast as the collaborators, sweeping up numerous awards at the 2014 Grammys like Album of the Year, Best Dance Album, Best Engineered Album, while Get Lucky won Record of the Year and Best Pop Performance. Rolling Stone has it at number 295 on their 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list. The singles from this album were Get Lucky, Lose Yourself to Dance, Doing It Right, Instant Crush, and Give Life Back to Music. That's 5 of the 13 songs on this album.
That's crazy.
Lots of singles.
That's a lot, man. Shout out to Daft Punk making it hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting to see. And I was taken back by this album and a little bit disappointed at the time when it came out because I thought it was going to be like an EDM, dance, sample-based, classic Daft Punk, One More Time type album. And I remember hearing Get Lucky and be like, oh, this is it? What's going to go on with this album? And to hear the whole thing was really jarring to me. And I came in with some weird expectations. So I didn't really appreciate this album until a few years later. I remember watching the Grammys or seeing I don't think I've ever watched the Grammys. I remember seeing like the Grammy Awards pouring for it. I was like, wait, really? And I was perplexed by it. But I was wrong. This is a great album.
I mean, hearing Get Lucky, I kind of knew what was going to be happening in this album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but to do it that well and to keep it so, which we'll talk about in 5 fun facts, to keep it so true to that 70s and 80s sound and to completely depart from their past works and the past expectations. I'm all about artists trying new things, but this one was a little bit jarring to me. I don't know why.
It's okay. And you know what? I appreciate that it was jarring. They did their job.
That's true.
They punched you in the face.
They did punch me in the face. I love what you talk like, because again, this album's going back to the 70s and the 80s. It reminds me of what you said earlier with the moments in time. Frank is digging up all these late 2000s, early 20s. Yeah, it was all late 2000s alternative, like MGMT and Coldplay, and just singing over it. I think these are love letters to music. Did you say that, or did I make that up? You said that.
I said that a little earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, you put that in my brain. That's such a great thought that my brain's like, that's dope, and made it my own. I stole that from you in real time, and I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. That's definitely like that's boss man. That's boss man energy right there. That's like, you know what I'm saying? You could definitely be like a leader of a team with that. Like, I feel like there's a lot of guys that lead teams and squads, and you got to tell them things like 8 times, and then they finally like it registers in their brain, and then they're like, I just had a great idea.
That's terrible leadership. I hate having to, if you have to convince your boss that an idea was their idea for them to take it, that's bad leadership. And that's not a hot take at all. I was almost a leadership minor in college. I studied leadership theory and motivation theory. If you cannot recognize your employees' greatness, and if you don't recognize that empowering them and the fact that they'll probably overshoot you at some point is just a reality of the professional arc, if you can't recognize that and help them do that, it's bad leadership. You shouldn't have to, that's manipulative. Your employees shouldn't have to convince you that the idea is yours for you to like it. You should be able to judge ideas on their own merit. I'm sick of bad leadership. We see it in the corporate world all the time. We see it everywhere. And it's bothersome. I hate ego when it's not used for good, like to propel yourself. Ego should be inward. It should not be outward. And that's outward ego.
Jordan,
manifesting.
You are dropping gems on this podcast. Happy Saturday to you, sir. Happy Saturday. Happy Feb. What's today's day? I have no idea. 27th. Happy February 27th.
Thank you. It just reminded me I didn't pay my water bill. It was due yesterday. Shit.
I'm scared of all bills right now. I heard that like the Minnesota, like the Centerpoint Energy bills are going to go crazy.
Because of I got to turn mine off auto pay then. Good call because of Texas.
Yeah. So
why would ours go crazy?
I have no idea, but I read something. I don't know. I got to look into it. But
I want these fake capitalists to hit the comments like, well, that's how supply and demand works. Step to a business major. Yeah. Step to an economic dread person and tell me about supply and demand. I dare you.
If only Centerpoint Energy was a capitalistic enterprise. Let's put it that way. It's very socialistic. It's
all monopoly. Well played. Well, it's very, they get the bailouts like socialism. It's very it's monopolistic. Mm-hmm. What other choices we have for energy?
Yeah. You remember, communism is like the government controlling the means of production, and then you have to buy from the government. Like that's Centerpoint Energy right there. More or less. I mean, it's not exactly, but it's close.
Shout out social media for giving us leftist theory to read so we can be versed in these things.
All right, man. So are you ready to do 5 fun facts here?
I mean, should we just buy time for 2 minutes before Chris pops on?
Okay.
Would it be cool to just take him right into the 5 fun facts segment?
Let's do it. So listen, I want to talk to you about your Twitter account.
Okay.
And I know that this has been an ongoing thing. Last week during our live recording of our podcast with Kaya Edwards, shout out to Kaya Edwards, by the way. Watch Kaya 11. Check her out on Instagram. She puts on local artists. You got banned from Twitter because of something you posted in 2016 or 2015?
2015. I posted a video from a pop station I was working at the time. And it featured Chainsmokers Roses playing in the background. A great song, by the way. Everyone loves Chainsmokers Roses. I don't care if you hate Chainsmokers. That's a jam. And it was playing quietly in the background. And I got hit with copyright infringement. I did the Mask Off challenge back in 2017 where I played guitar over Future's Mask Off. So since this is my second strike, I'm out of there.
Wait, so you got the second strike that came after the first strike? Or before the first strike, I should say?
I went through my junk email to find other copyright infringements, and that's my second one. And I didn't see that email back in the day.
Okay, I got problems here because you did the Mask Off challenge, which was like very popular. Millions of people were doing it. I'm sure Future was really happy about that. And the record label was very happy about people doing the Mask Off challenge, so that the song got incredible exposure off that. And you got copyright infringement or whatever on your Twitter because of it?
Yeah, it was like 30 seconds of me playing the song with guitar over the top of it. And here's the thing with copyright infringement. I'm all about artists getting paid. Okay, I love it. Let's give them the money. But at some point, every meme is copyright infringement. The Thanos meme is copyright infringement. People post clips from sports games on the internet. People are posting clips of movies on the internet, and it seems very hard to enforce. And perhaps that's just the nature of the game. And things like Shazam exist, so they have audio tracking things where they can pick up audio and all that. So use it to get artists paid. I think at a certain level, like Don Henley, you have to kind of give it up so people can be exposed to your work. We put out clips of our podcast for free. If people started sharing funny clips from our videos, I'd be like, yep, sick, retweet, boom. Thanks for doing some marketing for us. So to get in the own way of people, there's instances of copyright where it's bad and malicious, but if people are trying to make jokes and to be like, oh, this song's dope, check this out, or this video is dope, check this out. That's free marketing. It's budgetless marketing. You should use it as budgetless marketing, use that to your advantage, make memeable moments.
So are you going to get at Tornado Jelly back? What's going on?
I have submitted an appeal. So the longest Twitter suspension is 7 days. And I think that is up for me at 2:30. So at 2:30, I will try and send a tweet from the Tornado Jelly account.
Okay, cool. Right now, follow him at Rogue Jordan.
At Rogue Jally, dude.
Rogue Jally, I'm sorry.
Which I will be keeping that account if my account gets restored, and it will become a Star Wars exclusive Twitter. It'll be all my Star Wars thoughts. It's like Rogue One, Rogue Jally, boom.
Which is number 2 on your list of best Star Wars films?
It was number 1, but I just love Last Jedi so much.
I'm glad that you boosted up Last Jedi because of the hate that it gets. And shout out to Rachel Nichols for joining the squad of people of Last Jedi truthers. It's better than people give it. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I think that's a vocal minority of fans that are yelling about The Last Jedi. I think most people that are saying about Star Wars either just like it or love it. My wife was not aware of the discourse around The Last Jedi when she saw it. And she's like, "Oh, it's a fun movie. It's a fun film, and we watch it all the time. Probably because I want to watch it all the time." But
it was a fun film, and I did have one super critique of that movie, and that was the Mary Poppins moment from
that sucks
from Leia. I hated that, and it made me mad for the rest of the movie, and I couldn't enjoy it the way I wanted to enjoy it. But then on like second watch, third watch, I was like, you know what? I kind of put the blinders on that part. Great film. Great. And it's Luke at his best. It's Luke doing Luke things. And I think that was like the original Star Wars fans' critique of it. Yeah.
I'm not here for, that's not my Luke. That's Jake Skywalker. That's what they say on Twitter. It's like, you are getting mad about a movie on the internet and you're adding me about it. Are you serious? And you don't follow me. You searched TLJ or The Last Jedi and you searched that, found me, and then wanted to start an argument with me. It's very sad. I'm all about having discussions and conversations and sometimes arguing on the internet, but that one seems kind of sad. That seems kind of sad to me. Like it goes back to last week. The NBA should be fun. You can have critiques of certain players. You can reference certain stats, but talking about sports should be fun online. Talking about your fandom online should be fun. And when you start getting angry and you start going keyboard warrior over a movie about space wizards, I take issue with that.
What was I going to say? But I'm sorry. I'm texting Chris Villa right now. He's joining us. He just had some technical issues.
It's all good, Chris. I'm gonna slander him as soon as he pops on. Never met him. I'm gonna start on a very abrasive note. I've decided.
Yeah, that's not your style, Jordan. That is not your brand. But no. Like, I appreciate you making these things for what they are and what they should be and what the intenders created them to be, which was an escapist means to have fun.
That's what they are. And not to say you can't have critiques about it, but when your heart starts to boil and beat faster when you're typing a response to someone, you gotta put the phone down and go outside, dude. Fire up a video game. Just put the phone down, get off social media, and go cook a meal. Basically, do anything else. Mm-hmm. Anything else is better than just typing that angry response. Typing an angry response on the internet about something like sports or pop culture is truly the biggest waste of time.
It really is.
Go fire up Skyrim. Just go dust your living room. Do some laundry. Watch a TV show.
Dust the
Honestly,
living room.
sit and think for a little bit. Just think about your life and you plan your week. Anything is better.
Dude, I gotta say, I'm just thinking about like my fandom and my critiques of some of my favorite films. Like,
what is your fandom, Augie?
I mean, I'm not like a super Suns fan. Like, I'm a super Phoenix Suns fan. And I really love Batman, but I've fallen out of love with Batman over the years, realizing that Batman is like a dick, and and Batman is basically like the 1% keeping the common man down in a way. But let put that aside and talk about the Dark Knight. Dark Knight immediately was one of my favorite films. Immediately, I was like, this movie, classic. It's brilliant. I love it. But there's one part of that movie that made me upset. And I couldn't get over it. I never tweeted about it, though. I never once tweeted. I never once said, hey, what the fuck, guys? It's when the Joker is in that semi truck, which had a brilliant, and they're chasing Harvey Dent, and he's in the armored truck. And that truck was brilliant. And I can't remember what the name of what it said on the side of the truck, but the Joker, he starts shooting at that truck first with like a handgun. Nothing happens. And then he gets a bigger gun and shoots and nothing happens. And then even bigger gun and nothing happens. And then he comes out with a rocket launcher and he's got a stone cold face. And he shoots the truck and the truck like blows up and it flips or whatever. And Joker himself in that moment would have realized the humor of him pulling out a rocket launcher and would have had a fucking ball with that and would have laughed his ass off. But he didn't laugh. He was stone-faced. And that was my big critique of that film. But I was able to overlook that and say this film is classic.
Having The Dark Knight in your top 5 is such a dude thing, but I also agree. It's so good.
It is. And also me being like a, old school Batman Joker fan. I love the Joker. The Joker, I just love him. He's probably my favorite comic character of all time. And, a different take on the Joker, different-ish, at least a different take for film. I don't know how many fans were pissed off at that take. I didn't really like search for that. I don't know if there were.
I feel like people were like, Heath Ledger smashed it.
Right. And the overwhelming response was he did a great job. I thought he did a great job. I like different interpretations on some of my favorite characters throughout history. I thought it was awesome. But I also enjoyed our man Jared Leto's interpretation of the Joker.
I was going to ask about Suicide Squad. So you rock with kind of prissy rich Joker that, damaged and is a kind of like a wild guy in that regard.
A wild guy.
A wild guy.
The tattoos were a little bit much. They were a little over the top. But if you put the context of like the Joker is a 2010, like this is the 2010s Joker. Yeah, he's probably gonna have some tattoos on his face. Like he's probably gonna, you know what I mean?
I didn't mind his approach at all. I thought he was one of the bright spots of that movie, which is not a high ceiling. I'm gonna say it was him and Harley Quinn. Those are the two bright spots. I thought he was great and manipulative and scary. I thought that was really, and I'm excited to see what happens. That's the only thing I'm excited for the Snyder Cut is to see what Jared does in that type of Joker role again.
Yeah, and seeing that trailer with him at the end was kind of weird because now he looks different,
Mm-hmm. I think it I find it kind of comical that the Joker says, we live in a society. Like, would the Joker really say we live in a society? But I still rock with it. I would like to see what comes of that line.
Well, you know what he does, man? In The Dark Knight, the Joker's biggest critique was society. And
yeah, but he doesn't care about society. He just chaos is a ladder, to quote our good friend Peter Baelish from Game of Thrones.
I couldn't get into Game of Thrones. Forgive me.
Oh,
yeah.
It's worth it. Even if the last season sucks, it's worth it. It's some of the best storytelling you've ever seen.
I watched halfway through the first season. When there's too many people with English accents, I zone out. That's a me thing.
What?
Yeah, I'm just the British accent thing, unless it's James Bond. I think James Bond is the only pass. And what's that show with the Idris Elba? Luther. And Luther, I have to have the subtitles on for. I don't know about if you've ever seen that show. I gotta have the subtitles on for it.
Put the subtitles on for Thrones.
It's not that I can't understand all of them. It's just I don't know. I get zone eyes. I get like my eyes turn into X's when there's too many people with English accents, and I don't know. It's a me thing.
You are robbing yourself of a great storytelling experience with these weird hang-ups.
I
That's
know.
like people saying I don't like anime because of the animation. I have to read it sometimes. You're robbing it's people that don't watch Parasite. It's that same thing. You're robbing yourself of great storytelling, and you don't even know if you like it because you're not trying.
Well,
Once you try it, then you can have that critique. But right now you can't.
I did try it. I watched half the season. I watched half of season 1, and I watched a few episodes like of the later seasons and stuff. I gave it an honest shot, and it's not like I'm a kid that like hates ketchup and refuses to try ketchup and don't put ketchup on my thing. I don't want to touch it. I gave it a shot. I couldn't do it. It's like I'm allergic to English accents. I don't know.
Well, then I'll refrain from using any Game of Thrones references on the podcast from here on out. Where is Chris?
He should be hopping on soon. Maybe we can proceed if you want.
All right, let's proceed with 5 fun facts. Here we go. Should I go first with Daft Punk?
Yeah.
All right, 5 fun facts about Daft Punk's random access memory. Number 1, we touched on this briefly in the synopsis. They made an intentional effort to avoid the loops and samples on this album. After making the Tron Legacy soundtrack, they decided to keep loops and electronic instruments to a minimum and apply what they do with loops and samples to live musicians.
Nice. They took the Neptunes approach in a way.
Very similar. Drummer Omar Hakim. Drummer Omar Hakim described a studio session where he would come in to play just drum patterns that Daft Punk thought of, and Daft Punk would use them as they saw fit. He had no idea what would make the album. They were sampling live musicians. Keyboardist Chili Gonzalez shared a similar story where Daft Punk directed most musicians through sheet music and humming. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Yo. Chris is here. Let's
Chris
go.
Villa. What up? Hey.
What's up, Chris?
I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good.
That's all
I
good,
totally wasn't considering time zone.
It's all good.
Late. Yeah.
You had a gig last night, gigging out in AZ?
Yes.
Word. I'm not mad at it, man.
How is it?
I mean, it's different these days. Like they're only allowing, I think it's 50% capacity still, and everybody has to sit at their table. There's no self-service, so you can't just walk up to the bar and get a drink. You have to actually get served by a server. So yeah, I mean, going from packed dance floors and packed clubs to just basically on background music now is different. But yeah.
Can the check still cash though?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still making money, but I still enjoy DJing for crowds and stuff. I'm not all about the money, I don't. Luckily, I focused my attention on Twitch. Honestly, if I didn't have that, I think I would be kind of bored. But yeah.
Hey, that's the modern hustle. That's game. Insert how we do claps here for some game.
Yeah. I'm collecting a check from the club and from Twitch, but yeah, luckily, but thankfully, the clubs that I do work at, the owner is cool with me doing it. So I'm not, I'm still shouting "Big Booty Judy 69" out all over on Twitch, but I'm in the club, so I'm shouting out the people on Twitch and at the bar. And I don't mean to sound like I'm totally not entertained when I'm DJing there. It's just like I said, there's a difference between going from making people dance to now, people they're just talking and they're enjoying their drinks and stuff. They're not, they're still vibing out, but they're just vibing out in a different way,
So nobody's allowed to stand up at their table and dance?
No, they'll come tell you don't dance. You can kind of move around, but it's you're not really supposed to. And, it sucks because it makes us look like, we're party poopers or whatever. But, if somebody from the government wants to walk in and, be a dick about it. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They could shut down the whole operation. So,
sheesh.
We just have to play by the rules. Yeah.
If you notice people starting to vibe, you play a stiff. Just be, hey, stop dancing, and throw on a terrible song.
Yeah, honestly, and I have to kind of be you know, just because like I'm DJing and we're in the middle of a pandemic, like I still got to make money for my family, and like you'll get some drunk people that give no fucks, like will come up to you like with no mask on, like and just like for their job role request or whatever they want to hear. And it's just like I immediately like get on the mic and I'm like, nope, like get away, like, and like you'll hear me like telling people over the mic, like, yo, like don't be coming up here, like this is my space, like I ain't trying to catch COVID off of your song request, ain't that important.
Whenever people come up to you to start playing Get Back by Ludacris, just hit them with that big horn stab, and they'll know what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing that. But yeah, like I don't mean to sound like a party pooper myself either. It's just like we're it's a weird time right now, and like even to be out working, like it's bittersweet, because obviously like I love making money and I love DJing, but at the same time, like we're in a weird time right now.
Yo,
where can we follow you?
Yeah, so I do Twitch. It's all of my social handles are DJ Chris Villa. So ChrisVilla. It's Villa, pronounced Villa.
Boom.
Because I'm Mexican. But yeah, so there's Twitch .tv / DJ Chris Villa, and Instagram DJ Chris Villa.
Boom. Everyone follow him. Should we move on with the fun facts? Get into Daft Punk random access memory.
Yes, Jordan, let's go.
We're on the second fun fact, Chris. Number 2, they brought in sound designers from Warner Brothers Studios to help them record various sound effects like busy restaurants, water droplets, etc. So not only were there producers of the musical variety on this album, but also producers from movie studios. And that's super tight.
That's dope.
You can hear the restaurant sound effects on the song Giorgio by Moroder. That's fun fact number 3. Let's talk about Giorgio, shall we?
Yes.
Giorgio is a disco music legend, often hailed as the king of disco. He's in the Dance Music Hall of Fame, and he has more than 100 gold and platinum records. His synth work also had a big influence on Italian disco, new wave house, and techno. You can still hear the impact of his brain throughout EDM and alternative music history. Since this is a disco album, Daft Punk wanted George to come in and tell his life story. So he just talked into a microphone. They chopped it up and put it throughout the song. George had nothing to do with the instrumentation, but his legacy and impact is a foundational part of what made this album sound so disco-y. And we always show love to goats. So thank you, Daft Punk. A goat showing love to another goat. We appreciate it.
Yo, I loved hearing his words across that song, by the way. Like the way he talked about music was amazing. Like he was just talking about like it has no limits. We shouldn't put it in a box. And
that was so cool. It's like a TED Talk.
Yeah.
Thank you, George.
And it was like to me, that was the synopsis of the entire album and also of Daft Punk's entire career.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Number 4, this was Daft Punk's first and only number 1 album. Do you guys have a hard time believing that?
No, not at all.
Do you think that like the EDM explosion had something to do with that being like the number 1 album?
Absolutely. And when you are so ahead of your time that it's painful, you're going to have that commercial success is hard to translate initially. So I think the EDM boom and the recognition of Daft Punk as pioneers in getting their flowers in the 2010s, I think it's very natural. It's a good observation.
I just remember for real. A bunch of like new like EDM fans and stuff like that. Like all these posers that I'm seeing, they're like, "Oh, Daft Punk, bro!" Like So, but fuck it, I mean, they got a number 1 album as they should, Like, yeah. Shout out posers.
I got a question for the room. Do we think that them scoring the film Tron and having all that tie to Disney, do you think that had an effect on the success of this album?
Oh yeah. Once you get the Disney bag and that Disney marketing exposure, they're going to blow up like, oh, we got the cool guys, Daft Punk, making this soundtrack. That's going to do, I don't care how far along you are in your career, whether you're Daft Punk or Phil Collins with Tarzan. If that happens, you're going to see some marketing benefits and your back catalog will blow up. So that definitely had a big thing going on for them. Number 5, this is my favorite fun fact. Buckle up for this one. Pharrell wrote Get Lucky in 1 hour, but Daft Punk made him record it 200 times. Okay. That said, We can't trust Pharrell's recording of this, or we cannot trust Pharrell's recounting of the story. He is an unreliable narrator in this regard. In the Daft Punk video series, The Collaborators, which they used to market the album, Pharrell tells a story. He says he got off the plane in France and he was super jet lagged. So Daft Punk gave him a type of holistic medicine. It was a tablet that dissolved in water. He drank it, and he says the next thing he remembers was getting back onto the plane to America. So he's said on record that he doesn't remember recording this song. So how could both those things be true, Pharrell? What's the story? Were you drugged, or did you record it 200 times? Did they tell you that that happened? So I have questions for Pharrell, but he didn't reply to my DMs.
You know, it makes sense to me, man. It makes sense to me that he recorded 200 takes of this, because I remember specifically years ago seeing on YouTube the 10-hour Get Lucky repeat. Have you seen this on YouTube? Where it's just Get Lucky repeating on, and it was the first time I ever seen something like that, where they just literally had the video perfectly synced on a loop for like 10 hours. And that's immediately what I thought of when you brought up the 200 takes.
You know what I'm going to bring up with the 200 takes.
What do you got?
Augie should know me. You know the movie La Bamba?
Oh shit! Yes.
He's recording a song, and they do several takes of him recording the song, and he's just like really frustrated. And his brother chimes in, and he's like, "Who doesn't know shit about recording music?" And he's just like,
60 takes. I didn't hear a difference in one of them, man.
But I imagine, since that was Pharrell's experience, every collaborator had to do 1,000 takes of everything, because Daft Punk wanted to be perfectionist about it. He says this on like the Chatty Show, which is like some British night show. He's like, yeah, they were mad perfectionists, and they wanted exactly what they wanted, and they wanted as many takes as possible to sample and to play with. So, I mean, the album won lots of Grammys, and we're talking about it all these years later as one of the best albums of all time. So congrats, Daft Punk. Your perfectionism did it, and we're so proud of you.
How many times did they get Giorgio to do that monologue? Like, that's what I want to know.
He talks for 45 minutes. Hey, do it again. Augie, give us 5 fun facts about Nostalgia Ultra.
All right, here we go. Lonnie Bro, which is Frank Ocean's real name, was a respected songwriter before this. He wrote for John Legend, Justin Bieber. He was super sought after. He was already a success in LA after he moved from Louisiana after Hurricane Katrina. So that's my number 1 fun fact. Fun fact number 2, the album cover, I love it. It's got a 80s BMW M3 E30. And this orange car was actually Frank Ocean's dream car. And he just said, hey, we're going to put this on the cover.
That's amazing album artwork. One of my favorites, maybe because I'm a product of, the internet age and Tumblr and all that. But man, that is so clean and dope. Just the green and the orange. It's really just draws your eye to it.
Number 3, Jordan, is for you. Kanye West became a fan after this mixtape, Nostalgia Ultra. He was such a fan that, of course, he had him on Watch the Throne, as we all know, on the song. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of the song.
No Church in the Wild and Made in America.
Yep, No Church in the Wild.
Like that. That's my Frank Ocean impression.
That was terrible. Don't do it again. And he also offered to be on Frank Ocean's official debut album, Channel Orange, but Frank Ocean declined smartly, by the way. He said that, as much as I admire Kanye West, I want to be able to say that I did this on my own.
I see. Remember earlier I was saying ego should motivate you inward, not outwardly. That's ego moving you inwardly in a very dope way. Big ups to Frank.
Yo, let me say this about Frank though. He had Pharrell on the album. He had Pharrell producing on Channel Orange.
That's different because Kanye wanted a verse.
Okay.
A production versus a vocal feature is totally different.
Okay, that's fair. I just
totally different, but it's a little bit different.
Maybe Frank knew something we didn't know. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Kanye is a dick. Who knew?
All right, number 4. Songs off this album were uploaded to iTunes after he initially dropped it on his Tumblr page. And he uploaded certain songs in this album as under the genre death metal and under the genre bluegrass. And when he was asked about it later, he said, I don't want to seem like I have a cause against genres, or maybe I do. Bluegrass is swag.
I love the Bluegrass of swag. It's ultimate swag. It's great.
And to me, that's a big link of these albums is like these albums don't necessarily have a genre. People want to put this album in like a futuristic R&B box. But his manager was like, don't ever say R&B about this album. Like, don't ever say that, because that's not what he intended. He didn't even want it to be labeled. And Daft Punk, I'm sure, didn't want to label on their album. So
I think they wanted it to be disco. Like
so?
Holy disco, yeah.
I remember there was like some disappointment though from again, like the EDM posers or whatever, because it was like a very like disco-y, like it didn't sound like a lot of their older stuff, you know.
I was one of those people that was disappointed. I was expecting like a one more time, like what are they going to do in the modern age, like this with the boom of production, and I was like, it took me a while to appreciate it. It was kind of like, you know, when you first start drinking coffee and you don't like it at first. This album was coffee to me. Like, okay, I don't like it. Okay, I see the benefit. I need this. It's one of those joints.
An acquired taste.
Yes.
And I think you might have called yourself an EDM poser also, Jordan.
I might have associated. I'm going to reject that because I guess whatever. Maybe I am. As far as EDM goes, I like Calvin Harris. Like if I'm a poser, whatever. I like Calvin Harris and Alice in Wonderland. Whatever.
Calvin Harris is dope because he sings and he writes his own songs and produces them. So
Funk Wave Bounces is just a legendary album.
Yeah, you can't
slept on.
I don't know.
I think I have a hot take or warm take. I feel like EDM producers, at least the best ones, I feel like they appreciate music more than most. Because they don't necessarily want to, they don't even call their music EDM. They don't want to fit in a box. They want to work with artists that they admire, and it doesn't matter like, you know, what their aesthetic is musically or whatever, you know, like or Calvin Harris is a perfect example of this. Daft Punk is a great example. Disclosure, a great example. Like you can go on and on. Like these people just want to work with talent.
Yeah. And that's a great, they love talent and they recognize sonic energy. Because a lot of these, you know, EDM artists are also producers for other artists, and they're DJs. So they know how to sense crowds. They know how to read crowds. They know how to take the best out of certain genres of music. So I think it's a very astute observation.
And I don't mean to hate on EDM. I'm just saying like there's a certain when anything becomes big, you know, like there's greatness and then there's trash, you know, like can't deny that like the Calvin Harrises and stuff like that are great, but there's also, I'm not going to name names, but there's guys that like literally made like, you know, a tune in their bedroom and then, you know, which is great in its own right, but it's just like, it's kind of trashy, you know, like it's not, I don't know.
There's people that are of the art, regardless of what that art is. And there's people that use the art for themselves. And if you're if you're trying to contribute, that's great. If you're trying to manipulate, you can tell that in the art. Kind of like we talked about how.
I guess that's what it is. Is like it's like with being a DJ nowadays. Like it's because of how accessible like, you know, DJ equipment is, DJ software is, production software. Because of how accessible it is to like people who might not even like initially that have an interest in music or are musicians themselves, but they're able to make these beats and stuff. And there's a beauty in that, like that's awesome. But there's also like people who just want to, you know, make something quick and it's fast food and they just want to reap the benefits from it. And it's like, it has a short shelf life, you know, and I think that there was a lot of that with the EDM explosion, but it's good to see like the Calvin Harrises like evolve, you know, and make, you know, like records that cross, you know, genre boundaries and stuff like that. And they're killing it.
Facts. I'll give me more fun facts.
I don't want to sound like a hater.
No, I don't think,
and also like to EDM's benefit. I mean, like me being a DJ, like there's certain things that, you know, like we're more appreciated now in this world, and there's certain opportunities that we get because of, you know, something like EDM, like blowing up the DJ and making it like the new rock star. You know, like I remember when I was a kid, you know, you go to Guitar Center, everybody, you know, wanted to buy a guitar or drums and become a rock star. You know, like the DJ room was always the room that was like kind of empty. And that was the room that I was in, fucking around with all the gear that I couldn't afford, that I didn't have. Now you go to Guitar Center and like all the DJ shit is like right up front, like, and everybody wants to buy, a controller or whatever and become like the new rock star. DJing is the new rock star, in my opinion.
It is. I spoke to Serge Tankian of System of a Down about this last week, about the democratization of music. And he was all about, yes, use loops, use samples, mess around, do whatever you want, because that's the beautiful thing. Accessibility is a great thing. And the interview is up at 93x.com.
All right, I'm gonna move on to my fun fact number 5. Frank Ocean. Do any of you know where he got his stage name from? Frank Ocean, because
no.
He actually took it from Frank Sinatra. Well, one of his favorite movies from the 1960s, which is weird. Ocean's 11, the original one. Frank from Frank Sinatra and Ocean from Ocean's 11.
Wait, Ocean's 11's a remake?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I had no idea.
Originally a Rat Pack movie.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Rat
George
Pack
Clooney did it better.
Dean Martin.
Oh yeah,
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah,
Sammy Davis Jr. Who else? Those other guys. I don't
rock with the Rat Pack. I'm more of a Frat Pack dude. Give me Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, Luke Wilson, Will Ferrell, Judd Apatow. Give me the Frat Pack.
Damn, where's the Frat Pack at?
Augie, do you have any more fun facts? Should we move on to Gateway Drug, or one's got to go?
Let's go. One's got to go. Let's handle it. I want to give you the one's got to go first. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So
you want to explain it to Chris?
Yeah. So Chris, here's the bit, and you jump in on this too. So this is all about like I'm gonna name 4 things about Daft Punk's album or the periphery of their career, and one of these things has to go. All right. It's gonna be gone from existence, and we got to figure out which one it is.
Okay.
Here we go. One's got to go. Pharrell Williams, Get Lucky was the biggest single off this album. Pharrell Williams, maybe he's got to go. Number 2, the wah wah guitar.
Oh,
very prominent throughout the album. Number 3, space helmets. Of course, Daft Punk known for their signature.
That can't go.
Signature of the space helmets.
That can't go.
And number 4 is the Tron soundtrack, which kind of propelled them more into the mainstream.
Can you say the first one again? What was the first one?
The first one was Pharrell.
So it's Pharrell, the wah wah guitar,
space helmets, and Tron.
The helmets and Tron? Oh, God. You really went for it on this one, Augie. I think it's Pharrell. As much as I love and stand Pharrell, he is much more of an instrument on this album than Pharrell the personality. I think you can put in another artist in Lose Yourself to Dance and Get Lucky, and it's just as successful. It's cool that it's Pharrell, but I think you could substitute another artist in, and it would still be a hit. I hate saying that, but this is the reality of the situation.
Chris, what do you think?
I agree. I don't think
doesn't that suck? That sucks to say.
I mean, it's Daft Punk. Like, do you really need Pharrell? Like, anything that they do is going to be well received and appreciated. We don't need more Pharrell. I want to see more Chad Hugo though.
Yeah, where's Chad at?
I was talking about this the other day on my Twitch stream that Pharrell gets all the credit, because he's out there, And I think people forget about Chad Hugo, the other half of the Neptunes.
All right, Augie and Chris, are you ready for one's got to go for Frank Ocean?
Yes.
I had a hard time with this because he's such a mysterious guy, so we only have 3 to choose from, which makes it harder.
Okay.
Number 1, the Hotel California copyright infringement suit ceases to exist. He doesn't get the blowback from Don Henley and all the old heads, and then he also loses the press that comes with such a monumental lawsuit case. Number 2, he doesn't turn down Kanye's help on his debut album. He gets it, and Kanye kind of muddles up the legacy of Channel Orange. Number 3, Tumblr does not exist. He has to do everything through short form tweets and screenshots. Tumblr, yay, or Hotel California, scandal. What's leaving here?
Okay, so this is a dark one. So all right, so basically, if I say number 3, he doesn't release through Tumblr, That means that Pharrell Williams is not on the album and Kanye West does Channel Orange. Or excuse me, I'm sorry. There's no issue with the Eagles and Kanye's on Channel Orange. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. So so the Eagles are just fine with it, and they don't give Frank more of a press cycle.
Jeez.
Frank's a very mysterious guy. I told you this was a tough one.
I gotta tell you, I'm gonna go with Kanye not being on Channel Orange. How about that? Kanye's
or
on
Kanye
Channel
being on Channel Orange.
Kanye's on Channel Orange. We still get the Eagles beef, which is whatever. I don't care about that. And then Tumblr, nobody goes on Tumblr anymore anyway. So it is what it is.
Chris,
I think that the Eagles have enough money. They have enough legacy. Like, what is it going to hurt? You know, if anything, like, you know, like that's the story in hip hop is like people taking samples and putting people on to music that, you know, like a whole new generation wouldn't know about. So if I was as big as the Eagles, I would just look at it that way. Like, hey, like he's putting a bunch of new people onto us and, you know, we support this guy.
I think you're both correct in your own ways. I think I agree more with Augie because Kanye in 2011 being on an album that's super tight and it was very parallel to what he was doing, just hopping on stuff he thought was dope. So I don't think that would muddy the legacy. So I agree. Let's move on. Augie, Are you ready? Are you gonna do your announcement thing? Thing.
Are we doing the link up challenge?
It's time.
All right, I'm stepping up my challenge. You guys ready?
Oh my!
You ready?
Yeah, my daughter has a similar microphone.
These things are fucking amazing. I love these things. All right, and me and my wife do duets on this. It's pretty fire. I wish we should probably record. All right, here we go.
Sound like a reggae artist right now.
I'm not gonna do a patois. I was about to do it. I'm not gonna do a patois thing. All right, here we go. You ready?
Do it.
It's time for the link up challenge. Jordan versus Augie.
All right, this is the bit where we compare these two albums together or these two artists together by as many things as we can. DJ Chris Villa will be our judge. Chris, if you like a link, you say ding. If you don't like it, you say eh. The parameters of whether or not you like it are up to you. It's on us to figure it out. If you don't like the first link, boom, that's it. Game over.
Wow.
Intense.
Wow.
So,
all right,
you have
who's
a
going
punishment,
first?
which we'll save. I'm going first this time because you went first last week. All right.
Okay.
Let me look at what I got here. I want to make sure Here we go. Here's a nice, easy one. All right. Link number 1, Chris. Pharrell took that drug during the recording of Get Lucky. Novocaine is also a drug, and so is Dust, which are songs of Nostalgia Ultra. Already?
Welcome to the Link Up listening.
Damn.
Wow.
You got buzzed immediately.
Dang.
I've never
What's
seen
the punishment? What? I can't believe it.
Let's see. Make out with your microphone. I'm just kidding. I don't know. If you had like a bottle, I would tell you to take a shot of something. But
Dang. I will take a shot. How about this? I will mix because I have an outstanding punishment where I have to eat baby food. I will mix the baby food with a shot and I will take it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well,
Dang,
right.
I thought I was going to win this one.
Wow. All right. So you got to do broccoli flavored baby food and mix it with a shot of something, whatever it is.
Yeah, I can't get like apple and apple and vodka, like make it good. It has to be like a gross thing. Okay. Dang.
Wow. That was unprecedented. I fuck with it though. I'm a winner. Cheers to me.
I can't believe it.
We out here.
All right, man.
I had some funny ones though.
Well, we can't talk about them. Save it. I don't even want to have it. Can we go through it just for fun?
Let me just give you this one. I just have one that I worked really hard on that I would just want to I want to put out here in the square. All right, so Giorgio Moroder, of course, he's on the song that we talked about earlier. He's got the monologue of acclaimed disco artist. He worked with Donna Summer on Bad Girls and Hot Stuff. Donna Summer had a song called The Power of One on the Pokemon the Movie 2000 soundtrack. Post Malone just covered Wanna Be With You by Hootie and the Blowfish on the Pokemon 25th anniversary event. Post Malone worked with Happy Perez on his albums Hollywood's Bleeding, who also, Happy Perez also produced We All Try on Frank Ocean's album Nostalgia Ultra.
Chris, what do you rank that? Dang.
Did you like that, Jordan? Did you like that?
You can make any link happen if you have enough connections. I'll let it fly. I'll let it fly.
I try to bring Pokemon. I try to make a Pokemon link, and I did it.
I do appreciate that for the 25th anniversary. Well, should we move on to Insummation? Should we talk about other things that didn't fit in other aspects of our convo?
Yeah.
What do we got? Chris, I have a question for you. Have you had any success with Daft Punk while DJing? Because when I've been in wedding and club atmospheres, this might have been, my age and my venues showing, but I've never had success ringing off with Daft Punk. It always kind of is stale because they're so repetitive. Have you had success with Daft Punk?
Does it have to be specifically off the album or just Daft Punk in general?
Just generally. I Get Lucky work sometimes for me, but otherwise it's kind of dead.
Usually One More Time always hits. But it's crazy because so my daughter, she's 6 and she watches the Trolls movie. So the Trolls are like Justin Timberlake and I forget that chick.
SZA?
There's like a bunch of like they take all these songs and like, like it's pretty cool because like my daughter, like because of Trolls, like she was put onto Daft Punk One More Time. And like Earth, Wind and Fire, September. They do like these mashups in the movies or whatever. But so like definitely with the kids, like when the kids, I'd be killing it with One More Time, Daft Punk.
Hey, shout out to Trolls for bringing Daft Punk to Gen Z. Let's go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like especially like the newer movie, like George Clinton is in it, and like J Balvin and Anderson .Paak is in it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. They're putting kids on to good music.
That's like dope. It. What do you, in your eyes, Chris, what are the legacies of these albums? Both Random Access Memories and Nostalgia Ultra. What comes to the forefront of your brain when you start to discuss these records?
I think as successful commercially, the Daft Punk album was, it wasn't one of my favorites. And I think that like they couldn't do without it. That might sound wrong, but I think like for Frank Ocean, that album was great for him and his legacy. But I don't really feel like that Daft Punk needed that album.
Yeah, I interrogate that as well, especially given my initial feelings. Did I trick myself into loving this album? Even it seems like kind of a chore. It runs long sometimes because it has that prog pop element that we talked about earlier, Augie. It's there's numerous 6+ minute songs on there.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this was a political move by the music industry. Let's give Daft Punk their flowers. Finally, let's do it. They're bringing back Niles, and it seems a little bit elitist to be like, oh, they're not sampling anymore. Okay, now they're gonna get the number one. Now they're gonna get the single. Now they're gonna get the awards. Sure. So I think there's some merit to that. I don't think you were feeling bad about saying that, but I feel a little bit sacrilegious saying that as a person from the alternative radio space that's supposed to worship Daft Punk. I think, yeah, it's cool. It's a great album. I love Get Lucky, obviously because of Pharrell and Niles. Like I have respect for Niles too, but I wonder if this was people saying that they liked it because they're afraid of getting blowback if they didn't say that they liked it.
I mean, it's still beautiful music and it's great.
Of course.
I don't really feel like it like their legacy could do without it, and they'd still be straight, you know.
Let's look up 2014 album of the year nominees. Album of the year: Random Access Memory, Daft Punk; The Blessed Unrest by Sarah Bareilles; Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City. Was it? Yeah, that's the album of the year. Sorry. And then Red by Taylor Swift. There's also a case. And then The Heist by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. Love Macklemore. Great guy. Not sure if that should be in the conversation, but whatever. I get it.
This was the infamous year that Macklemore won Rap Album of the Year and then tweeted a Kendrick Lamar text.
Yeah, don't tweet your texts. Never mind. That's it though. It should have been Good Kid, Mad City if we're keeping it a buck, but it is what it is. The past is the past.
Yo, I got to ask you, Chris, just regarding Daft Punk and their legacy. How do you feel about them calling it quits like the way that they did last week?
They just called it quits, or did they split up? Or
Yeah, they announced that they were splitting up and that basically Daft Punk was over more or less. And the way they did it was with a video. And the video like had them both walking down a desert together, and then one of them stops. And then the other one walks back to see what's up. And then he kind of like looks down, and then he takes off his jacket that says Daft Punk on the back, and he hands it to him. And then he starts walking the other way. And then he gets like, I don't know, 200 feet from him, and then he explodes. And that's pretty much the video.
I didn't even know that there's a video. I gotta watch it, but yeah, I mean, how do you? I don't know. I don't think they're done. I think it's like a marketing thing or whatever.
It could be.
They can't not make music.
Yeah, I hope, or maybe they're going to make music separately. I mean, I don't know. Here's what.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like
and my thing is like, I think that they kind of maybe sold themselves short a little bit through their career, because I actually watched Tron last night just to kind of get a refresher, and they did a fantastic job on that soundtrack. They scoring that soundtrack. Feel like they could have done that again. And I think that could have been a cool little lane for them in the realm of like Pharrell doing that a little bit. RZA has done that a little bit. I think Daft Punk could have done that more than just that Tron soundtrack.
And they also did leave a lot of potential collaborations on the table. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, there's going to be a Coldplay Daft Punk song, but they never came out. I think we could have gotten more from them. I agree. But there's something to be said about this is supply and demand, Augie. There's a scarcity around Daft Punk products. So when they deliver, people gun for it. So maybe that's just the nature of their work and why it's so storied.
That's fair. Kind of like Frank Ocean, right? They make themselves pretty scarce. And when they do something,
that's another link. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And a big link that I had between these two artists in particular is just that they both shone the spotlight, you know?
Ooh.
Yeah. The Daft Punk they never wanted to be in their own music videos. They shunned fame. They didn't really want that. There's only a certain amount of interviews with them. And Frank Ocean, there's literally only 18 Frank Ocean interviews out there. And so,
sheesh, imagine having one of those. That's so sick.
Yeah.
Boom. Is that it? Is this the natural end?
I think this is it, man. You got more? You got more, Jordan?
I got nothing. I think this is a verbose conversation. DJ Chris Villa, thank you so much for joining the podcast this week.
Hey.
Thank you. I'm a little bit salty about my L today, but it is what it is, and I respect it because you're the judge.
You had an L. I just like to disrupt things.
It was catastrophic disruption.
It wasn't bad. I just felt like disrupting.
I feel it. I'll take a baby food shot for you. One more time, you want to plug where you're at so people can watch you on Twitch and follow you and support you and join your journey as a DJ.
Yeah. So Instagram, DJ Chris Villa, ChrisVilla, and same thing with Twitch.
Boom.
So, yeah.
I love it. And then we are at the Link Up LP wherever you socialize on the internet, and also we're on Spotify and Apple Music. Make sure you give us the old 5-star rating. I want to know why you like us. And make sure, remember, don't be stingy. Tell your friends. We'll be back tomorrow on Tuesday. Make sure you subscribe. Love you. Goodbye.
Peace.